Nigel Farage, we just saw Nigel featured in Mark White's report there. He tweeted today that this was an example of the deep state at work. I know it's a phrase, deep state, that Boris Johnson used last month, but for some people it conjures up the stuff of conspiracy theories. Where do you stand on this? Is it the deep state doing what it does?
I think anyone who still disbelieves in the existence of the deep state really hasn't been paying attention. I mean, people not notice how weird the world has got in the last couple of years. You've got this senile, incontinent guy sitting in the Oval Office pretending he's president, and you've got all these agencies like the FBI, which I think in the minds of the innocent public are still institutions designed to protect the interests of the citizen, acting like the arm of some kind of crazy police state in South America or somewhere. This was undoubtedly a political raid, an abuse of power as well. I mean, you think about how ex-presidents are generally treated in America. They are treated with reverence, like they're kind of national treasures. They get to call themselves by the courtesy title of president long after they've left office. Only President Trump is getting treated this way. And there's lots about this raid that stinks. For example, the judge, the Florida judge who authorized this raid on the President Trump's private property, turns out to have been the attorney who represented a lot of Jeffrey Epstein's associates, including the pilots who flew the various nameless bigwigs out where they had sort of paedophile sex with his underage girls. So the whole business absolutely reeks of corruption. And Farage is right. It's not the kind of thing one associates with the leader of the free world.
And there'll be some people, James, they'll be shrugging their shoulders saying, well, you know, that's just the way it is in America these days. It's that sort of politicisation of the judiciary, lawfare, call it what you like. It can't happen here. It doesn't happen here. And I sort of nod along at that point. And then I think back to that Supreme Court hearing and Baroness Hale and little spider brooch and why is she wearing the spider brooch? And you sort of think, well, she's making a statement, isn't she? It's commentary. Well, I expect dispassionate lawmaking, and I'm getting commentary. So I think we are a million miles away from America, but you know, we're in the same Anglosphere.
We're not. I think that the problems that are happening in America are happening across the supposedly free world. They're definitely happening in Canada, for example. They're definitely happening in Australia. They're definitely happening in New Zealand. I was brought up to believe that English common law was one of the envies of the world, and that people like to come here to this country to do business because they could be sure of fair trials from our famously uncorrupt judicial system. I don't believe that is the case anymore. I don't believe in, with regards to America, I was brought up to believe there were these marvelous checks and balances established by the founding fathers, which ensured that justice would always prevail. It ain't happening anymore. That world no longer exists.
And for those people who still want to make an impact on public life, James, does that mean they've got to fight dirty?
I think we've reached the stage, Colin, where we have to actually opt out of the system. The system is so corrupt that we have to form our own communities and kind of live parallel lives. It doesn't necessarily mean there are certain laws we have to obey, because otherwise we're going to end up in prison or losing our licenses or losing the ability to spend our money or whatever. But as much as possible, we need to opt out of this system, which is bent and broken and corrupt and wrong. Doesn't matter. You know, you had an item earlier on about you know, the next leader of the Conservative Party. It doesn't matter anymore. Whoever you vote for, you get the same bunch of crooks, I'm afraid. We need to understand that the world is not what we were brought up to believe. It is a much darker, uglier, messier place.